Right, so this is a big one. How do you build enterprise value? What is it that buyers are looking for, and which levers can you operate in order to really maximize that? Probably the biggest single factor or question that I get asked by particularly those obviously with share options in a business. And as I kind of spend time as an advisor now, my job is really to increase that and to help people understand it. And so what I thought would be useful now is just to run through a list of the things that buyers basically look for. And this is built from spending lots of time on buy and sell side. I've merged, sold, invested in probably more than 100 businesses. So I've seen this a lot, and these are the things that I think look at, and they're split into three basic kind of premises areas really. The first is quantitative factors, and in that list are revenue composition, so what is the mix of retainer versus project work, so quality of earnings that's sometimes called. Net revenue scale, so i.e. how big are you, because there's obviously some protection in that. Net revenue growth, so what's your compound annual growth rate, because obviously that matters as well. People are more willing to take risk and pay more from multiple perspectives if that's higher. What's your net revenue margin, so how well are you actually turning that into profitability? What is the margin trend? Is it up, is it down? What does EBITDA look like from a margin perspective? Are you a well-run business? You can read a lot from that. How good are you at retaining that revenue? So NRR, net revenue retention, really important. So how bad is churn? How well are you at keeping and building relationships? What does gross revenue retention look like? So how much of the work are you doing? How well are you at retaining and logos and all that kind of stuff? How well you are at retaining employees as well. And of course, big one that lots of people know, what's the top 5 concentration of clients look like? Do you have 20-30% of your revenue in a couple of clients? Because obviously there's risk there. And then what does pipeline look like? So how well built out is your function around that, and how well are you and how mature are you at kind of recognizing that revenue in a probability adjusted basis for budgeting and forecasting and all that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of quantitative bit. And then the qualitative factors are things like, what's your position in the market? Have you built an element of brand? How big is the market? So what's the scalability opportunity here? What is the potential SOM, however you want to measure that? What sort of client types do you have? Are they big clients, small clients? Are they large scale, small scale? Like, do you have volume or is it few? What are the tech capabilities of the business? So have you got proprietary tech? Have you built anything that kind of helps with efficiency or effectiveness or USP? What do data capabilities look like? Data really important. How well established and thought out is your service offering, and also your forward-looking roadmap. A lot of particularly service-based businesses like agencies forget in the importance of continuing to iterate on that and have a plan. Where are you geographically? Are you just in one country or more? Because obviously there's risk mitigation in being in more than one place. How scalable are you generally as a kind of a business? Back to the kind of SOM kind of stuff. Do you have competitive differentiation? So what does your GTM look like? Are you known in the market, and do you have USPs? And then obviously, how strong is the management team? So those are the qualitative factors. And then process factors wise, actually, if we were to buy this thing and then sell it, how big is the buyer universe? How many people would be interested in us with this in it? That's from their perspective. What's the market environment like? Can't affect this, but what's the macroeconomic and sector-specific conditions like? And then, how well advised are they on this? Because so usually if you invest in selling a business properly, you're more likely to be taken seriously. So hopefully that's a long list. I've worked through it quickly because I know you don't want to be listening to a video all the time. But what I've done is, and you can check this below, is I've written a blog post that kind of makes those bullet points in a bit more detail, so you can take that away and think about how you leverage each of them. And obviously, if I can be helpful in as you kind of go on the journey of building enterprise value, then give me a shout. Really happy to talk through them. So hopefully that's helpful.